So there's parts of this, there's like a pin I think you can use a bit of filament with, and this is almost like a ratchet that when you move the handle pushes forward, or goes that way I think, pushes forward and presses on the flux tube. I had to print this one with vim because it's quite tall and thin, no supports on it. You know, it's got this like teeth. The camera's flicking again, I don't believe it. I've got a new switch on this. Not the camera, it's the LED. It's LED, so that's like a lever thing that you press. This is going to be what holds the flux, presumably. I'm printing these both out together, as you see. And I'm using BigTreeTech. Turn this light off. But this is a BigTreeTech. I've got it on the LCD. I like the LCD version. There is a touch screen version. I won't touch it now. I'm not actually using this. I'm using this USB big long cable I have going to my computer, and I'm using Cura, printing direct from Cura over the USB. I've tried the Wi-Fi module on the main board here, and I couldn't get detected, sort of thing. Now you can fit the Wi-Fi module to the LCD, and there is in Cura like a plug-in that you can send over the TFT35. That's what this is. Sorry about the reflections here. Turn the light off there. So it's pretty much just the same as the old traditional LCD 12864, but there is a plug-in you can use to send over the Wi-Fi if the Wi-Fi is plugged into the display, because there's a Wi-Fi plug-in on the display. There's a Wi-Fi plug-in on the BigTree 1.4, whatever it is. So I've got my sticker, just a bit glue there, needs scraping off. BL Touch, Capricorn tube in here, marlin inside, yep, BigTree, yep. This is my Raspberry Pi. I did try this, but the USB, it wasn't, as I say, I've only got a really long, extremely long, easy 3 meters cable, USB cable, and I tried this Raspberry Pi with octo pin, but the cable was, well, it was coming back with an error with the cable. I think it was too long, so I've got a shorter cable, USB cable, go from the Pi to like a printer sized, traditional printer sized USB here. I've got one of those on order, and I'm going to try OctoPi again. This is my camera lead, little cable coming up here to, and this works. Notice my painting in the background, I've had that a long time. This works very well. Yep, you can see in the night time, got infrared, it's got automatic switch on, Pi camera. One thing with this is you can't, well, it's not PTZ, pan tilt zoom, so the only way you can move it is manually by hand, which you can do. You can focus it. I can't really show you that because but not for this print, because Raspberry Pi isn't working fully because it hasn't got the USB cable yet that I want to try out with it, whether it will work or not. That other little blue box is a step, I think it's a buck converter. Yep, so I've got two buck converters. I've got 24 volt for the power supply going to 12 volts, and that powers the fan, it powers this light thing. I can row of lights I have on here, just stuck on LED sort of strip, powers that fan, maybe powers something else off, anything on one of 12 volts. So I've got 24 going to 12, and then from the 12 going through this one, that's another buck converter, from 12 to 5 volts to power the Pi, and that works very well. So yep, I'm pleased with that. It's come out very well. This is supposed to be flesh colour, that's what they call it. This ring is an anti-snore ring. Whether it works or not is a different matter. It's supposed to use acupuncture. It has a couple of bumps on the inside and presses on your little finger a bit. It's another 3D print I've done. Yeah. So I like the BigTreeTech better than the Reality board up to now, and I think flashing the firmware, once I've got some issues with Visual Studio, is it not Visual Studio, you know, the Microsoft software for programming. I've got Visual Studio on my mind. Is it Visual Studio? I think it is, yeah. Because I've got videos on my mind and the thing about the video thing. So this isn't really displaying, notice it's not displaying the bar graph. It does display bar graph. I'll try and do a screen capture and show you that separately at the end of this video. For some reason it's not showing the bar graph. Now I have tried print run, yeah, and with print run this definitely made the music. It does have a speaker on, as far as I know. Well, it's got speaker grid in there. You know, I can't remember if there's a speaker on or not. Can't definitively say yes it has, but it's certainly got a speaker grid in there on this display unit I've printed out and modified a bit to move it a bit so that it's not a potentiometer, it's one of these cordon wheels. You can just keep turning or press so that the shaft of that doesn't scrape against the edge of the case here. So I've cut out this. I cut it out too big, but I'm going to be looking at putting another USB port in here. Not USB, SD port in here. That's the original one, which so far as I can tell you don't use. We've kept it there. We've got an extension cable to go from the USB. I've got a USB card in here at the moment. I'm not using that because it means unplugging the USB card and plugging it back in, and it's right near the mains plugs. Always turn off the power when the mains power if you're plugging that card in, because it's right near the mains. Although they have plastic like coating skin on, covering on I should say, on the mains wires, you will, and I can guarantee you will, get electric shock if you don't turn off the power. Right, this is still not fastened together because I'm waiting for this USB wire to go inside. Not, I keep saying USB wire, it's not USB, it's like an SD extension. So it'll go in the port on the display, the SD card, and it'll come, I'm planning for it to come out here. Somebody else has one and they've printed it, what got on the side. I'll have to decide actually whether to put it on the side, because that might be more convenient. So this is basically an update. Let's have a listen to the noise. Let's stop yabbering. The main noise is the retraction at the moment. I've got it set up to 40. I've increased the speed because I wanted to go on faster, but I'm going to turn it back down to about 25. I think the standard one is 24, 25. I think the standard one is in Cura. I think that will quieten this retraction down. All this is to get this conduit pipe up above this rail, because sometimes I've known this conduit pipe is like it's ridged, and it will make a sound like that as it's going across this rail unless it's raised up above it. So a lot of it is to do with that. I'm still waiting, hoping to get this smart filament sensor wired up. That's still not wired up. Filament run out does work. Tested it. So there's the Clay Marks flesh colours, PLA, have a look around. So here I am in Cura. See, set the monitor up there. There's prepare, 2 parts I'm printing out. There's preview. I don't particularly like preview. Look how it sort of seems to display here. I can move parts about by clicking on these handles. I'm going to leave that on these monitor. So it's got the temperatures, it's got some controls here, it's got send G code. I haven't tried any of those. I don't know if how well or if they work. It has the job name. This is what I'm printing out. Well, the name of the job. There's 2 parts in that job. I loaded up one part that moved it over a bit. So loaded up one of these, then I moved it over a bit using these sort of handles here. And then I loaded up the other one. That's the name of the file. Here's the times. So about 20 minutes left. And this does show a bar graph, but it doesn't show a bar graph on the LCD 12864. Now I know the bar graph works, sort of thing. The graph thing there telling you how much percentage is done, because it works in print run and some other software I think I was trying. It seemed to show it up, but for some reason in Cura it doesn't seem to show. So far as I understand it, all this blank area is for camera display, but you may, well, it's basically for the one that's built into Ultramake, is it? Ultramaker 3D printers, cameras. I don't know if anybody's got a hack. I haven't seen any hacks. There is a marketplace up here where you can download plugins, sort of plug-in things, various plugins, so it might be worthwhile you going through them. There's an installed one USB printing. A lot of these are installed as defaults, but you get some plugin sort of thing for doing various things. I haven't seen there is only one Wi-Fi thing on here, I think. Don't quote me on that, and that is to link in the Wi-Fi to the BigTreeTech TFT 3.5 display. I believe you can do that. So there's a look at Cura. Not much to see really. Well, the default is not as good as Octoprint. Now in Octoprint I can close it and it'll keep it going. I don't know about this. I haven't done a test on this to see if I can close it. I'm not going to do it now at 33%. 93%, sorry. Right, that's a brief look at Cura. I'm on Cura 4.8, but it works in a little bit earlier version, I know that. So there's lots of links here. Okay, 4.8.